here's the part that's critical to understand. There are 43 million black Americans in this country. If approximately 1 million black households are on Section 8, we're talking about a very small minority of our community. And I need black folks to hear this clearly. We will be all right if that program goes away. I'm not saying it won't hurt. I'm not saying those million households won't struggle. I'm saying that as a community of 43 million people, we are not defined by, dependent on, or destroyed by the existence or elimination of Section 8. This is about shifting the narrative. For too long, the conversation about programs like Section 8 has been framed as if black people would collapse without them, as if we're the primary beneficiaries, as if our entire community survival hinges on government assistance. That's a lie. That's a narrative designed to make us seem weak, dependent, incapable. And I'm here to tell you that narrative is propaganda, and we need to stop accepting it. When Section 8 payments don't go out in November, yes, there will be pain. Landlords will panic. Some will move to evict. Families will scramble. Courts will fill up with eviction cases. This is real. This is serious. But this is not a black community crisis. This is an American crisis that affects multiple communities, and black Americans represent less than half of the people impacted. Let me be clear about why I'm framing it this way, because every time there's a crisis involving social programs, black faces get put on the news, black families get interviewed, black neighborhoods get filmed, and the underlying message, whether intentional or not, is that these programs are black programs and that black people can't survive without them. That messaging is harmful, it's inaccurate, and it needs to stop. The reality is that white households make up 35% of Section 8 recipients. That's 840,000 households. That's not insignificant. That's nearly as many as black households. But you won't see that represented in the media coverage. You won't see rural white families being interviewed about potential evictions. You won't see white faces attached to this crisis in the way you'll see black faces. And that's intentional because the narrative serves a purpose. It keeps black Americans positioned as the dependent class while obscuring the fact that government assistance crosses all racial lines. Hispanic and Latino families represent 16% of Section 8 recipients. That's 384,000 households. Where's their representation in this conversation? Where's the acknowledgement that this crisis will devastate Latino communities? It's not there because the narrative doesn't want it there. The narrative wants one face on poverty, one face on government assistance, one face on dependency, and that face is supposed to be black. I reject that narrative completely, and I'm asking black Americans to reject it too. Now let's talk about what this Section 8 situation really represents. It represents a government that's willing to use housing as a weapon. It represents a system that can cut off assistance to 2.4 million households and call it policy. It represents the vulnerability that comes with depending on systems that don't have your best interests at heart. And this is why I'm focused specifically on what this means for black Americans, not in coalition with other groups, but as our own distinct community with our own distinct interests. I know some people reading this are already uncomfortable. Why aren't you talking about coalition building? Why aren't you including other minority groups? Don't we need to work together? And my answer is simple. Minority coalitions don't work for black Americans. They never have. Every time we've entered into minority coalitions, our specific issues get diluted, our specific needs get overlooked, our specific pain gets minimized in favor of a broader agenda that ultimately doesn't serve us. The data shows it. When we fight for minority rights, we end up at the bottom. When we fight for people of color justice, we end up with the least. When we build coalitions based on shared oppression, we discover that our oppression is deeper, older, more entrenched, and the coalition isn't equipped to address it specifically. So no, I'm not interested in coalition building right now. I'm interested in black American survival and prosperity. Here's